I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hi, I'm Luke Ryan for JoBlo.com and welcome to Movie Endings Explained, where we'll be taking a look at some of the more ambiguous and discussed movie endings that have left audiences debating their true meaning long after the credits have rolled. In 2018, Annihilation was released around the world on Netflix and on a limited basis in US theaters, becoming a critical success and leaving a lot of people confused by its finale. Written and directed by Alex Garland, the filmmaker behind Ex Machina, Annihilation was loosely adapted from the novel of the same name, released in 2014 from writer Jeff Vandermeer. Garland reportedly adapted the novel from memory, and the book was actually the first of 3 installments, with Authority and Acceptance both following shortly after Annihilation's release, comprising the Southern Reach trilogy. The film follows Natalie Portman's character Lena, an ex-soldier and cellular biologist who is grieving the loss of her husband Kane, played by Oscar Isaac, who has been missing. Having assumed he was dead, Lena is blown away to find him turning up to their house one night, but notably he seems different. Distant. He becomes ill and is brought in by the government along with Lena, and she learns that he was sent out on a mission inside an unexplainable area of light that has been growing on the southern coast of the US. The electromagnetic field has been expanding for 3 years and has been dubbed the Shimmer. No one who has gone inside have returned, except for Kane. Lena decides to join a crew of women, all seemingly aware of the likelihood they'll never return, into the Shimmer, hoping to learn more about her husband's condition and what happened to him inside it. Things appear normal at first, but the group start losing track of time and encounter strange abnormalities within the Shimmer. Being a biologist, Lena realizes that the entire area has become mutated on a molecular level, with the DNA of every living thing inside the Shimmer changing at random. At the beginning of the film, we see Lena in interrogation after coming back from the Shimmer, where she remembers little of what happened. Then we see the origin of the Shimmer on Earth, an object of light approaching Earth from outer space and landing at a lighthouse by the sea. As the group explore further into the Shimmer, the mutations grow more extreme, and eventually the women themselves start to change, with one member of the crew, Josie, deciding to accept her fate as becoming one with the Shimmer as plant life begins to grow from her body, mimicking the human-shaped plants that have grown from the ground. She was the one who figured out that the Shimmer refracts DNA and is a prism that changes everything that enters it. Dr. Ventress, who's leading the group, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, believes that the Shimmer is destroying everything, but Lena believes that the Shimmer is changing everything. In the end, only Lena and Ventress remain, and they both reach the lighthouse where the Shimmer first touched down on Earth. Ventress tells Lena that whatever the entity there is will grow until it encompasses everything. Then, this happens to her. The thing of energy draws a drop of Lena's blood towards it, where it duplicates and creates a humanoid shape of matter. Lena engages in a showdown with the creature, which begins to mimic her movements, before attacking her, trying to assimilate itself into her body. It's a hypnotic and breathtaking sequence that ultimately concludes with a perfect replica of Lena forming before her very eyes, before she kills it with a grenade. Escaping the lighthouse, Lena watches as the building and indeed the entire Shimmer itself goes down in flames. Back at the government facility, Lena is reunited with Kane, who is now perfectly healthy. She asks him if he's really Kane, and he responds as the final scene of the film rolls.
I don't think so. Are you Lena?
And that's Annihilation. The big question is whether or not the Lena we see at the end of the film, and even the beginning, as the whole movie is framed around her interrogation after coming back from the Shimmer, is actually the real Lena or the copy. We learned through a video recording in the lighthouse that Kane actually killed himself, so the person who returns to Lena is a replica of her husband. Call it whatever you want, a clone, a copy, a double. So it's established that the Shimmer can create a lifelike functioning human replica. His irises change as they hug at the end, and so do Lena's. Is she just like him? And is the Shimmer still alive and well, but inside her, and inside Kane? There's the possibility that she's still the real Lena, but a changed Lena. She comes out with a marking on her arm, a snake eating itself, also representing the infinity sign. Perhaps the destruction, or the annihilation of the Shimmer, was the entity destroying itself to create anew a different form. A potential clue to whether or not Lena is the real Lena or the duplicate comes first when Kane returns to her at the beginning of the film. We see his hand partially through a glass of water on the table. What we're seeing is still his hand, but through a distortion of image. His hand is there, beyond the water and the glass, but it's slightly different, not the real thing. When Lena touches his hand, we only see this from the other side of the glass. Seems innocuous enough, but at the end of the film and the conclusion of Lena's interrogation, we see her hand through a glass of water also. Maybe a hint to the similarity she now shares with her husband's Shimmer-created doppelganger. And if that's not enough, note her hand beyond the water. It's reversed, a mirror image. The novel simply ends with the biologist character deciding to remain in the Shimmer, known in the book as Area X, hoping to find the presence of her husband. Alex Garland's adaptation gives the story a fairly definitive conclusion, with the open-ended final scene a mere tease of an answer to what we just saw. An answer that we're never really going to get. The film has a lot to say without saying a lot, the kind of complex sci-fi thinker that keeps people talking for decades. Many have likened the story to a metaphor for cancer, others a look at how we perceive death. You can theorize that Lena's own sense of self-annihilation, colored by the fact that she was actually cheating on Kane with a co-worker, was adapted and taken on by the Shimmer, leading to its own demise. Or, depending on how you look at it, its own rebirth. Annihilation is an incredibly dark, beautiful and thought-provoking film that rewards rewatching and surely cannot be definitively explained by one theory alone, because where would the fun be in that?